Hello! Today I'm going to be talking about Princess and the Fangirl by Ashley Poston. It is so cute. In case you don't know what this is, it's kind of the second book to Geekerella. You don't have to have read Geekerella, but I think it really helps and you kind of get like some background knowledge and things like that. It's about a girl who looks very much like a popular movie star, and while they're at a con called ExcelsiCon, the movie star has need to go on a secret mission and she has to switch places with our main character. I don't want to tell you too much about the madness that ensues. Because it is a fairy tale retelling of Princess and the Pauper, you probably have a little bit of an idea, but there are definitely some fun twists and turns. So if you haven't read it, go read it because I'm about to talk about all the things. Goodbye. Thank you. So you've read it, right? I was really interested that this was about Jess. In Geekerella, she didn't make a huge impression on me. Jessica Stone is the actress of Princess Amara, who is the female romantic lead in Starfield. I thought it was really interesting that this is such a big role and she doesn't consider it part of her serious acting career. And over the course of the story, she kind of changes her definition of what her serious acting career is. She has this preoccupation with being happy. Is she happy? What makes her happy? She gets really sidetracked by the haters, which was really upsetting because she's playing this beloved role, so obviously there's so much critique. And to see her looking at that was really difficult. As someone who was quickly wanting her to be a little kind of stronger, Jess isn't who I pictured when I first started reading Geekerella. I kind of had a very different view of her, so seeing this from her perspective was really interesting. Our other main character is Imogen, and after some confusion in the bathroom changing area, Imogen gets confused for Jess and ends up on a panel. First of all, she's fangirling over Darian because she's sitting next to him and she's like, oh my gosh, this movie star that's so cute, and she loves him, she's a big Starfield fan. And now that she's on stage as Jess, she sees her moment to kind of reinforce her Save Amara movement. But this is right after she ran into the real Jess. I think she tried to give her one of the Save Amara pins because she wants the character of Amara to be coming back in the second movie. And Jess is like, Amara can't save anyone. And it's really pretty cold. But this is Imogen's moment to get her movement heard. And that's going to cause a lot of problems for Jess. We get to meet Ethan, one of my favorite characters. He's Jess's personal assistant / best friend. We get to see Imogen's family pretty early on, her moms and her brother, and then we also kind of include her brother's boyfriend, Bran, kind of in their family unit. They're all super into fandom, they're all really invested in ExcelsiCon. They sell, I believe it's figurines of characters. We get an intro to Harper, who is Imogen's internet friend, and they're gonna meet for the first time at ExcelsiCon. Oh, when Jess insults Natalia Ford, the original Amara, about her career. Yikes. I was just sitting there cringing so hard because Jess isn't really, she is kind of like that actually. I was gonna say she isn't really like that, but she kind of is, where she has a very set definition of what she thinks success as an actress is. And we whiplash back and forth between the characters really quickly. They are very short chapters, which I like. I like seeing the moment by moment. We get a play-by-play of their days. I really liked that. So we switch over so quickly to Imogen in the coffee shop where she sees her ex Jasper, who I immediately hated because I already shipped Ethan and Imogen immediately. Jasper the year before had not shown up for Imogen at the ExcelsiCon ball. And he's a general douchebag. But at the coffee shop we run into Ethan, and by run into, I mean literally. They hate each other. It was just immediate hate. Gotta love those stories. And he's got hazelnut coffee all over him, and he's like, ugh, hazelnut. We get a mention of the Magic Pumpkin food truck where Elle worked in Geekerella, and Sage still works there. And Milo, Imogen's brother, really wants to eat there because Geekerella worked there. This is such a big deal to have at ExcelsiCon, which I love. So, Jess threw away a package that she received from the director. Turns out it was the script to the second Starfield movie. And somebody found it, which is a big oh no. because this is a career-destroying move. If it is found out that this is her script, she is going to be blacklisted. No one will work with her again. And I'm just like, oh no. Like, I was really impressed with Jess's ability to move forward, because I feel like if this had been me, I would have just been like, what if I just hadn't thrown it away? What if I just hadn't done that? And she kind of is like, this happened and I'm going to fix it immediately. Really admire her work ethic. And so the chase begins. Jess shows up at Imogen's door because she obviously knows about the debacle of Imogen playing her on the last con panel, and her plan is that they will switch places so Jess can go undercover and find the script that she threw away, while Imogen is Jess and stuck with Ethan. I love when she comes in for this scene to talk to Jess, because Imogen's room is hilarious. Like, she's got clothes everywhere, and she's like, I flung a bra onto a lampshade and I thought it was funny 5 seconds ago, and now I don't think it's funny anymore because Jess and also Ethan is in there. But when she's presented with this opportunity, she realizes this is the perfect moment for her to use Jess's image to save Amara. I love the Jess rules of like how to be Jess, and one of her main rules is don't flirt with anyone, and like especially Ethan. Yeah, okay. So now Jess is Imogen, and she meets Harper for the first time. So Imogen wasn't too worried about Jess meeting Harper, because Harper has never really seen Imogen well enough to have noticed a difference. This is when Jess finds out that Imogen started the #SaveAmara movement. And at this point, she is just trusting Ethan to keep Imogen in line and not destroy her career. That moment when the next scene is leaked, she can tell that she's really close to whoever did it, because she recognizes like the carpet or something like that of the Hall of Artists alley. I was surprised that, like, I guess that was kind of the only way to set it up so that there were clues as to the fact that she was close, because I feel like if someone was taking pictures of the script, people would have noticed, but maybe they were just really sneaky. I love that Darian is in on this whole charade. Like, he knows that it's not really Jess. I don't know who told him, if he figured this out really quickly, because I'm under the impression that Darian and Jess are actually really good friends, even though they're supposed to be dating for a little while they're like filming. That was more of like a publicity thing, and now he's with Elle, so it doesn't really matter. They're at a panel about villains. All the characters in Starfield are like saying who their favorite villain is, and it gets to Jess's turn, and she's about to say Amara, which I feel like I want to watch Starfield because I don't picture Amara as a villain. I get that, like, she's got like a very full character, and she isn't like just like a damsel in distress. Like, she's got like a lot to her, but like I really just want to see this, or maybe like see the scripts. I don't know. Like, I wish there was a way we could like know more about Starfield as like a general thing. But anyway, Imogen is about to say that her favorite villain is Amara when the lights go out and it gets all creepy, and then out comes this golden knight man, General Sand, who is one of the villains in Starfield. And he's going to be the villain in the second movie. So like they've released this information at the con in like a really cool way, and everyone like starts screaming, and it's great. Like, you gotta love being around other fans because they get just as excited as you do, and that's so nice. It happens that General Sand is played by like this super hot British actor, Vance Raines, who then later kind of like hits on her as Jess, and Imogen melts into a puddle. Who wouldn't, you know? Ethan quickly intercepts this. He's like, no. Meanwhile, Jess is hardcore struggling. Like, it feels like just every day is such a bad day for this girl. She gets a free pretzel from the nice pretzel guy, and then she goes to take a break. Like, I think she like walks outside or something like that, and then she has like this realization that she only sees the bad side of a fandom because she's getting so heavily criticized. But when she's outside, she sees like a group of girls dressed up as Amara taking pictures, and one of them happens to be Elle, and Elle recognizes Jess, so she runs over and she's like, can you please take our picture? Like, we all want to be in the picture. And so Jess takes that picture, and she has like this really nice moment of being like, this is the good side of a fandom. Like, this is the supportive side, the people that accept each other. And like, it's a really beautiful moment that she really needed to have as like part of her character arc development. Also, I love it when books tie together. Like, Elle being there was just a cherry on top for me. Like, of course she's there. And I think that Jess bringing up the horrible sides of a fandom is a very valid point, because we do get super protective. I don't usually post when I get angry about fandom things, like that's not really my style personally, but I can be pretty defensive about my favorite like books, and especially when they turn into movies and things like that, when I don't like the way things are done. And I know that other people, we all get like very protective because we love it so much, but there's also like this like understanding in Princess and the Fangirl where it's just like you can love something that much without bringing it down. Like you don't have to love the movie and stuff, and that's a really hard thing to balance as a fan, being able to criticize something without being overly critical of it, because like the actors are doing the best they can. And I just really like that that was brought up, that we got to kind of see the other side of it, that it was like because Geekerella was so like loving on fandoms and fans, and that like just pure joy from like a TV show, that like seeing the other side of it is a very good like mirror reflection to me. The chase for Natalia's cat. Harper and Jess, dressed up as Imogen, see the cat and have to run after it. Catching a cat is difficult. And I'm just picturing this like, was it a hairless cat? I was picturing a hairless cat, which like for whatever reason made it funnier to me. And then they go and take the cat back to Natalia. And Natalia's really, really nice to Harper, but not really to Jess. So Jess is thinking like, first of all, Natalia hates me because she did that interview and slipped up and said some pretty harsh things about her. And like, secondly, she saw through her disguise immediately. But we kind of brush past that moment, and we have a conversation about Harper and Jess as Imogen going to a party later. I loved the moment where Imogen is Jess and she's at the photo ops. So like all the fans are coming in and taking pictures of her, and like she is thriving. She is living as Princess Amara. It is so heartwarming because Ethan is watching this, and you know his heart is cracking a little bit for her because of like how much she loves this. Like, how can you not watch that and be like, oh my goodness. Ethan leaves to go see a Dungeons and Dragons panel, and it's so funny because Imogen knows exactly what's going on. He's like, I want to see a panel that's in the like main hall or whatever. She's like, oh, you mean the Dungeons and Dragons one? I know what happens here. I know everything about this place. And it's super cute to see that Ethan's kind of a little bit of a fanboy, kind of a little bit of a geek. I love it. But also, like, he eventually, like, gives her this, like, weird look where he's, like, watching her, I think. I forgot what exactly was going on. I took that to mean, like, he was kind of starting to like Imogen, but Imogen was like, oh, like, he's in love with Jess, and, like, I look so much like Jess, he forgot. We see Darian and Elle before they're gonna go on a date. They're so cute. My heart was so full. Like, I just love them as a couple. Jess goes to the party, and I thought it was just so funny where they all have these drinks and people are like, oh, we call it the oh no. And Jess is like, oh no. Jess doesn't drink anything. I think that's probably a good idea, because if she hadn't have kept her wits about her, she might have given up her secret. We get to see Cal and Sage at the party, which is a fun little nod to Geekerella. The karaoke scene was hilarious. Like, Jess is apparently a very bad singer, and I love that. Another scene is released, and there's kind of a caption that sounds a little bit like a threat to Jess. Like, the person's going to reveal who the script belongs to. Jess is starting to fall for Harper, and she doesn't really want to tell her yet who she really is. That scene where Imogen goes swimming, and she's just had like a really tough day, and Ethan finds her. We find out that Jess lied about her age. She's not really like 23, she's like 18, 19? Younger. Ethan then tells Imogen that he sees Jess like a sister, and she doesn't really believe that. Imogen kind of confides in Ethan that she feels like a failure a lot of the time, and she definitely feels like she's in her little brother's shadow. Ethan tells Imogen that she's going to be amazing, and it's so cute, and he looks so good in this scene. You can tell. She's like, oh. So in response to this compliment, she splashes him in the face. They play in the water together. I love when she's like thinking about that she should have used like a lip scrub earlier. And then it's just in all caps, not that this is anything, because it's not. And then the whole moment is ruined because Ethan says something that makes Imogen feel like he believes that she is going to screw up Jess's career. And then she kind of runs back to her brother and takes like refuge in him, which I thought was a really like sweet sibling moment. I love when Jess is showing Harper the stars and is like pointing out the constellations. It's like a really like cute moment for them, and Jess really wants to tell Harper who she really is, and she is like so terrified to do that. I don't really blame her, like she is a very famous movie star. Imogen tells her brother and Bran everything, like how she's been Jess for like a couple days and like things like that. I knew that Imogen giving Ethan the pizza place's number instead of her own number was gonna come back to bite her in the butt. Imogen is a smart girl. She had to know this was a bad idea. I thought she was gonna get very lost or something like that, and that was gonna be the issue, and she wasn't gonna have his number and he wouldn't be able to find her. It just, why? Another tweet is released, and I think we're in Jess's point of view because Ethan sends a text to Jess like, hey, have you seen this? You should call Darian. The tweet just says like, Carmendor dies, and then there's the scene. This news breaks during a panel. So Darian is on a panel when he gets this news. Darian is obviously heartbroken. He is a huge fan of Starfield, a huge fan of Carmendor. Like, I feel like all he wants to do is just live up to who that character is, and then he sees like, in the next movie he dies. People get pissed that Carmendor is going to be dying. And people start yelling for a recast, they start yelling for David and Natalia to come back, which is irrational. Like, they are, in my brain, like, they're probably too old to play those characters. I'm guessing they're in their like 50s and 60s, which isn't like, they could bring them back, but like not as the same characters, like in the same time. They would have to be, you know, 30 years in the future or something like that. And it's just like so hard to watch Darian go through this. And then there's like the whole moment on page 217, there are dark sides to every fandom, the pockets filled with a certain kind of nostalgia where everything is sacred and shouldn't be tampered with. I thought that was really interesting. Like, that was a very hard-hitting line to me because you can so see that in this book. Like, it's just so clear. I really liked that line. Ethan tells Jess that she loves being Amara, and Jess can't understand it. Like, she doesn't get it. Obviously, Ethan knows her pretty much better than anyone, so he's going to realize that she loves this role. Jess is against it because she's thinking, like, you know, there's no awards that come out of this. There's no kind of like title for it. She thinks it's more of like, this is like one of those blockbusters that doesn't really up her career, it just ups her publicity. But then she kind of has like a moment like, is that what matters, when they're having this conversation? Because Ethan's like, well, does it matter? Because like, there's a difference between getting awards and reaching what you think are your goals as opposed to like being happy. And I kind of understand, like, one of her main reasons for wanting to not be Amara anymore is because the fandom just has not accepted her. She definitely, of course, would have some fans, but she feels like the overwhelming majority hates her. And that's just because the people who are angry are gonna speak louder, you know? But, like, I can totally understand her points in wanting to get out of this. The moment at the meet and greet where Imogen is Jess and Jasper comes in. First of all, he's obviously cut in line, and he doesn't recognize Imogen. So like when she instinctively kind of curls away from him, it's really uncomfortable for her. And Jasper is... when he's like, what, you're too good for a hug, and then she's like, be Jess, and then they like kind of get together for a picture, and then he kind of feels her up a little bit, and my blood was boiling, and Jasper starts recording for his fans and puts her on the spot asking if Carmendor dying was her fault. Because in theory, some people are starting to connect the dots. She did not want to come back as Amara. So if Amara is going to remain dead, then, like, in theory, there's no one to save Carmendor. So some people are starting to blame Jess for, like, the writing decision. But then Ethan kind of swoops in and saves the day and takes the phone, deletes the video. Ethan looks like all intimidating and throws Jasper out. Yes. Ethan realizes that she's upset, but Imogen's really angry at him because Ethan kind of implied that, I think incorrectly implied, but Imogen took it, that he didn't care about her. The only reason he cared about her was because she was a copy of Jess, therefore essential to Jess. So Imogen kind of runs away from this whole moment and runs into Vance Raines. He says, like, let's go, let's escape for a little bit, like get something to eat. And like that sounds great to her. She's like, it's been a rough take, you know? So Jess keeps getting distracted by her social media, which is something that Harper is beginning to notice. And right as Jess is about to tell Harper who she really is, someone recognizes her. Jess is trying to escape quickly and she runs into traffic. Just happens that it's Natalia Ford's car. I really liked the moment where the Amaras like have their conversation, and then they see a photo of Vance and Imogen like in this diner, and Natalia pretty much tells Jess to go save Imogen because there's paparazzi everywhere. Vance turns out to be a total jerk, which was pretty upsetting. I didn't really want there to be like a really strong love triangle because I'm very much Team Ethan, but I was just like, seriously? He just wants to date Jess for the publicity of it, for the scandal of it, and it's just like the way he even talks about it is just so shallow. The fact that like he called the paparazzi, right? So like this was all just a stunt for a picture. Imogen dumps a milkshake on Vance. Thank you, thank you. Imogen and Jess talk because Jess has kind of found her in the diner. They talk about a lot of things, but they talk about their crushes, which was cute. And they come to the conclusion that Vance is the culprit releasing the pages. They kind of get the squad together. Harper is too hurt to be a part of the plan. I liked that because in a lot of books, like even the hurt ones kind of get pulled into the plan. They kind of forgive quickly. And I like that Harper kind of stood her ground and was like, no, this is not something I'm going to be a part of. Like, I'm sorry, but no. I really like that because I think that helped a lot with Jess's character development too, where she realizes like how important it is to apologize to Harper and like kind of gain her forgiveness. Jess has to steal the original Amara dress, which was hilarious because like their plan rides on Milo and Bran standing kind of in front of the Princess Amara glass cage that has the dress. No one is guarding it, and they're just standing there, and they just are like a cover. They're just like, nothing to see here. Oh my gosh. Darian walks by, I think it's Milo. It's just like he gives them the finger guns, and Milo's like, I'm gonna die. I just can't. Turns out Pretzel Guy is the old Carmen door, and Darian is like helping create a diversion. So he's not at the panel he's supposed to be at. And then like, I don't know if old Carmen door is like in on this or like what goes on, but like old Carmen door kind of rebukes him for not being where he's supposed to be. So Darian in turn is kind of sassy to him. I hope that old Carmendor knows what's going on because I feel like I would love to see a few scenes with old Carmendor and Darian. But the distraction is enough that our crew gets the dress and runs away. Ethan is taking over the tech. He wears like the too small black t-shirt and has to be a tech guy and turn off the lights and all that, and I thought that was funny. Bran is trying to call the number of the Twitter account connected to like the person who's releasing all the photos. So they're at the con, and then I think it's the lights go out and then they come up, and then Jess appears as her Amara form, and she's now on the whole Save Amara train. Jess blames Vance for leaking the script right after Imogen, as Jess, realizes that it's not Vance, and there's this whole like weird conundrum of like Vance is innocent in that sense even though he's a jerk, and then there's two Jesses and everyone's just like, what is going on? And it wasn't Vance. 'Twas Amon! Is that how you say his name? He was the director, so it was his decision to kill off Amara. I must have missed something because I don't quite understand like his reasoning to do that. Was he just wanted to like maybe blame Jess so he didn't take the repercussions of having Amara killed? I wasn't quite sure what went on with that. Sometimes when I get to like that point in a book, I'm reading too fast. Sometimes I skip over very important plot points to figure out what happens. But Jess goes and yells to Harper from atop the magic pumpkin. Imogen finally accepts her crush on Ethan, which she's been fighting like this whole time. And then she like thinks she's never gonna see him again because the con is almost over. Jess and Harper are gonna go to the ball together. Yay! Imogen stands up to Jasper, which was a fantastic moment, and then when Jasper's being like really weird about it, Lonnie comes in. I love Lonnie! Literally my fave. Kind of escorts him away. And then the closing announcement plays, and I love that they've kept the same recording for so many years of Elle's dad saying that the con is over. And then Ethan finds Imogen and says he might like her, and they kiss, and it's so cute. I loved Elle's article at the end. It's just a really nice way to close everything. I love happy endings. I'd probably do like a 4 out of 5 for this one. I liked Geekerella a little bit better. Also, just like a note on the cover design. Look at how beautiful these are together. But yeah, that's all I have about that one. I don't know if we're gonna get more of those characters. I probably need to do some research on that because there are definitely more fairy tales that could be, you know, used in this fandom world, and I would love to see that. Like if this was a series, I don't know what other characters we would use. Maybe the guy who plays Yuchi? That'd be more like new adult instead of young adult, because isn't he a little bit older? Anyway, my name's Caitlin. Thanks for watching. Bye!